Welcome to the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, where we help you conquer the internet one video at a time. We cover everything from how to start a YouTube channel to how to make a video go viral. And now, here's your host, the one and only Dusty Porter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 335 of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, where each and every Friday I release a new interview with a wonderful YouTube creator, and this week is no different. Little housekeeping before we get going today. Don't forget to check out our sponsor of the show, TubeBuddy. If you're looking for a tool to make your YouTube life just a little bit easier, it's not going to be a little bit, by the way. It's a whole lot easier. TubeBuddy is most definitely the tool for you. Check out our link and you can get a free 30-day trial, an entire month of using everything that TubeBuddy has to offer. No restrictions. Right here, you support the show and the tool will support you for much longer than that. So definitely go check them out if you haven't already. Also, if you'd like to join our little community, our little Patreon community, you can do so over at patreon.com/DustyPorter for as little as $5 a month. You can get a shout out on one episode of the show per month, kind of like your YouTube channel is sponsoring the podcast. And we have had a bunch of new patrons over the past couple of months, and I am so thankful of that. This week we have Andrew Gibbs with Quick Tech Videos and Lesser Known Adventures. We have Corbin White, Nathan Miller, Don Koramic, Anthony Pizzuto, and a new patron this month, Larry Mason with Rapid Repair DIY over on YouTube. So go check them out if you haven't already. Thank you to all of you for supporting me. Hopefully you're getting some value out of the Discord community as well as our monthly calls that we are going to be starting in the next couple of weeks. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. Also, I don't mention this very much because it seems like I'm begging, and I'm really not, because it's absolutely free. But if you would just subscribe to the show, like, you have no idea how much that helps us out. You hit the subscribe button on your podcast player of choice, kind of like on YouTube. You hit subscribe, but you actually, with podcasts, you actually get them in your feed when you subscribe to a show. So it doesn't matter what podcast player you use. Just subscribe to the show. That way, every Friday when we release a new episode at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will receive that episode. We have some awesome interviews coming down the pipeline, including the one from today. I've already recorded like 3 of them, so I know they're really good. And then I have 2 or 3 more that I'm recording this week, and I'm so thankful for all of my guests because it's without them, the show is nothing. And if you think that you might be a good fit for the show, we have a Google form that takes less than 5 minutes in the show notes where you can submit your information if you think you or someone you know would be a great fit. Don't forget to follow me over on Twitter. Connect with me there at DustyPorterYT. And with all of that out of the way, let's jump into this week's conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's conversation on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. Dusty here, as always, the host of the show, joined today by Alex Smith from the Mallorca Under the Sun YouTube channel, where basically, I'm going to let her explain it to you, but she is British born, and after losing her job during the global pandemic, she decided to start the channel, and she is an expert and authority on one of Europe's favorite holiday destinations, Mallorca in Spain, and she creates vlogs, travel guides, news, travel tips, and live streams for anyone wanting to holiday or move over to the island. Her greatest achievement, though, is creating a fantastic community, not only on YouTube, but her website, Facebook group, Instagram, email list, and the list goes on and on. She has replaced her corporate income or salary through a mixture of freelancing, YouTube AdSense, website income through AdSense and affiliate income, and has just secured her first video sponsor. So we've got a lot to talk about today. Alex, how are you doing?
Dusty, hello, good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you. Man, I am so, just reading your bio there, I've already done it, obviously, getting ready for the show, but it just gets me excited for you and for what you've got going on. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, this is going to be a 2-part question for you to open up. Number 1, can you give us a brief rundown of what Mallorca is and how you started the channel, the story or the origin story of the channel?
Okay, so I think I have a similar story to many guests that you have had on your podcast. It all started during the global pandemic. Now, I've been living over here in Mallorca since 2005, and I've been working for the biggest travel company on the island. And I've been in that job for about 15 years. And then, boom, we were hit by the global pandemic. Now, initially, they did actually furlough me. They put me onto a furlough from my job, but and I had suddenly a lot of time on my hands. I've been working full time in this role for 15 years. I was living on I am still living on one of the most beautiful islands in the Mediterranean. And just for information, actually, for your listeners, Mallorca is right next to Ibiza, and we're just off the mainland of Spain. We're a little bit right of Barcelona, if you can visualize that. So, so suddenly, after a very long time, I suddenly had a lot of time on my hands. And I thought, I have to do something. I need to do something with my time. I need to fill my time with something. And that was when I started my channel. I think after about 3 or 4 weeks of not working, my channel started.
I tell you, I love that. And, I have heard of Ibiza. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes,
Okay.
Ibiza.
I have heard of that destination and location, but I definitely have not heard of Mallorca, which is what you cover. And I am super excited to dive into this. So you decided to start the channel. You got put on furlough, and you decided to create content around this location and thing that you have basically been working around for over 15 years of your life. So you were already an expert on that topic. So as far as like the starting of the channel, what would you say were some of the most difficult things to do? As far as did you run into any roadblocks? What were the initial stages or phases like of creating the channel?
Well, I think the first roadblock that you initially come across is actually starting the channel. And I think there's so many people, even maybe listening to this podcast, who they have a channel in mind, or they've just started the channel and they just can't get going with it. They don't know quite what they're doing. They don't know why they're doing it either. And this is what, I mean, I had a great name for my channel. I had a nice logo. And then I suddenly thought, right, my content, how am I going to do this? Who am I targeting? What kind of content am I going to create, and who on earth is going to watch it? So these were the big questions I had in my mind. And at the time, Mallorca has a very big, we get a lot of visitors from the UK. So it's very, very popular with UK travellers. However, there were some really, really harsh travel restrictions in place. So a lot of holidaymakers that would have come here couldn't come here. So I knew that they wanted to see what the island was like, how the island was doing during the pandemic. And this is how I started my channel, initially just by showing nice views of the island, and then it kind of transferred into talking a little bit more about what the restrictions were, bringing them news updates, trying to find ways for them to travel to the islands, and giving them that kind of information to try and get tourism going again a little bit.
Now, another question, follow-up to that is, did you have any experience in content creation? Like, were you doing some bit of content creation for your previous company as far as like marketing, or was this completely new to you?
Well, the whole the whole YouTube thing is completely new, but I do have a background in marketing and public relations as well. And dabbled in freelance journalism as well. I used to write for the airline magazines too. So I did create some content, but not to this level, nothing like this level. So, and of course, I've got a natural interest in tourism because it's why I'm living here on the island as well, and from my job. But the whole YouTube thing started right from zero. It was, and also I hadn't really edited videos either. I started making a few little videos on my phone for our social media page at work, but they were really, really basic, but nothing like actually having a laptop and some software and then clipping together clips, putting music on, deciding how to create a video. I knew nothing about this, nothing.
So when you decided to start the channel, what were some things that you initially did? I mean, you do have a beautiful logo, channel banner. So walk us through those first, few months of getting everything started, and some things that we've already talked about, some things that were kind of roadblocks, some difficulties. But what were some things that you think that you did well that looking back, you're like, oh man, I'm glad I made that decision early on?
Yeah, well, I knew that I wanted to make my channel about Mallorca. I knew it wasn't going to be about me. I didn't really want my videos to be about me saying, "Hey, this is me going about my day. Here's my family. Here's my home," because I just didn't want to go down that route. I know a lot of vloggers do, and that's fine for them. But for me, it really was to promote the island. But the biggest roadblock I actually had at that time was being able to present what I was trying to say about the island. And at the time, I literally, from my job, I couldn't give a presentation at work. I was absolutely terrified about talking in public and presenting, let alone having a camera and a mic and saying, "Welcome to my channel, Mallorca Under the Sun." It was something that I just couldn't do. So I started my channel as a silent channel. I threw some music on top, had a few nice views, and then eventually I then transitioned into being able to put a voiceover on top of what I was showing. And then I stepped in front of the camera and I just went for it one day. I thought, I have to do this. I just have to not care what anyone thinks about me. I've got to get in front of the camera, and I just did it. And then I just kind of went from there. So
It's very shocking to hear you say that, because just hearing you here, on the podcast, you have such a great tone to your voice, and you seem to be such a good presenter. Can you talk about maybe some things that you did to get over that roadblock of, oh man, I don't know if I can speak into a camera or speak into a microphone? What were some things that you did that you can look back at that you're like, okay, those are the things that really helped me get beyond that?
I think the biggest fear is worrying about what people think about you. And I think everyone listening to this will completely identify with that. A lot of people will not go on camera because they're worried about what their family think, what their friends think. I'm sure people were laughing at me behind my back. I'm absolutely sure of it, because I've left all my videos on my channel. So if you go back and look at the earlier ones, they really are quite cringeworthy, and they do make, I'm just like, shall I leave them up there? I'm thinking, now I'm going to leave my whole journey there. Yes. So but you just have to practice. You just have to take it out, use this as a platform, use it to practice, and just go from there and watch how other people present. Talk to other presenters as well. I mean, I've spoken to people here who've said, right, so if you're presenting, maybe enunciate certain words, or just really try some different techniques, but you've just got to practice. And I think it comes with time too. And especially as well, what's really, really good, and possibly a little bit crazy as well, is just throwing yourself into live streaming as well, because then you have literally you're not always pressing stop on the record button. You just have to go with it. So that's also a little bit crazy to do, but I do recommend it, actually.
So let's talk about that for a minute. You are someone who streams, who does live streaming. What made you dive into that? You just talked just a second ago about one of the benefits, and I completely agree. I've often preached that here on the podcast of, if you want to get better as a presenter, thinking on your feet, being good at spoken word and dialect and being able to be understandable, go live streaming, because that's throwing yourself to the wolves, per se, which is what we say here in the South. And it really does help improve so many different skill sets that are valuable for creators. So speak on your journey in live streaming and why you decided to do it, and kind of how it's helped you in the long term.
Okay, so when I started live streaming, it was purely because I had an old laptop and I couldn't get my content out quick enough. So I had a 2017 old, really, really ancient laptop that it took so long to edit one video, and to get it up on my channel, it kept crashing. I got the blue screen. It was getting really frustrating. And I was watching YouTube, and I was watching all these live streamers who were going live, and then bam, that was it. They just had a piece of content on their channel. And I thought, oh my goodness, this could be a thing. And then I literally thought about it for a few weeks. And then one Sunday afternoon, I just thought to myself, that's it. I'm going out with my camera. I'm going to do a test. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to hit that live button. And from there, it just rolled from there. I was so nervous, Dusty, honestly. I think, anyone could hear me shaking in the background, and it was absolutely terrifying. But as time has gone on, it's something that I've actually really come to enjoy. Now, when I was in my job, I could not give a presentation at work. I couldn't do any form of public speaking. But now, if I know I'm doing a live stream, I really look forward to it, because it's become such a fantastic way to connect with my community. it's brilliant. I just really enjoy it. It's because
Yes.
a lot of my audience would like to see what the holiday resorts look like, whether we're in peak season in the summer or we're out of season now, and they maybe want to see what it looks like, check out their favourite places, and just have some banter as well in the chat box as well. It's always good fun, really, really good fun, and it's not something I think about anymore. Like, oh my goodness, there's like 100 people watching me, or I think last summer at one point I had 300 people on my live stream. And if you actually think about that number, you're just glad that they're not all standing in front of you, but yeah, I really recommend it. If anyone is thinking about live streaming, go for it. Again, it's the same with presenting. You just have to forget about what people think about you and just go for it.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I went through a phase where I live streamed a lot, and I've obviously done tutorials and tested out different live streaming methods, and I do hope this year, my dream is to get like a morning show type live stream where I answer questions about technology and YouTube and just the happenings of the tech world or whatever it may be. And that's something that I dream to do. And I can tell you that live streaming, a couple of things that I will notate here for those listening to this. Live streaming not only helps you improve your skill sets as a creator, but it also helps you as far as a person and a presenter. If you're ever thinking about speaking or engaging at a large events, it'll help you with that as well. And just the ability to fill dead air, because oftentimes when you're starting out, you're thinking, well, there's nobody going to show up. Well, that's perfect for you, because when you start live streaming, that's when you kind of get to practice on what you're going to do and kind of what makes you a good live stream person. So I love that. Now, can you tell us the technical jargon behind the stream? Like, what are you using, like software wise, and how easy was it to set up?
Okay, so at the moment, I'm just streaming literally through YouTube, but I would actually like to, I'm going to start looking at using StreamYards, because we do have a problem on the island that some places I'll go to, the stream or the connection will cut, and that's just a complete nightmare. I know where it works, I know where it doesn't, and I want to try with maybe some software like StreamYard to see if I can get like a more solid connection with that. But it just literally is just streaming straight through my phone, straight through the YouTube. I just hit the live stream button. Well, I'll schedule it in advance and then just go live with it. But,
it's that. I mean, it really is that easy. I mean,
it is that easy. Yeah. And I think as well, you really need to promote, if you're, if anyone's new to streaming, promote your stream first before. If you want to do a few test streams and just go live, go for it. But if you really do want your audience to come along and support you, try and promote it so you can schedule your live stream before actually going live, and then you know you're going to have a few people coming along for it. So
yeah,
that's always useful.
I think the scheduling feature within YouTube is great, being able to so that way people know they've seen it. They can even add it to their I say calendar, but watch now, watch later, whatever it may be. They can like it, and it's one of those things to where if you're live streaming, yes, you can go live, but I've found that whenever I've scheduled a stream, I've always had better results and reception as opposed to if I just go live randomly without letting folks know. So I do definitely agree with that. Now, a line in your intro or bio that I read was that you were able to build a website and you've been able to replace your corporate salary through a mixture of freelancing, YouTube AdSense, and website income and some other stuff. So let's talk about that. And I want to talk about how YouTube is the linchpin of that. What are ways that you are making money currently? And can you just explain all of those to us?
Okay, so one of my freelance roles is literally as a direct result of having a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. So during the summer, I would do similar reports for the local paper here on the island for their website. So I'd just make videos for their website talking about, talking about Palma Nova, what it's like, what we're seeing. I'd interview some tourists on holiday, asking them what they thought about the resort, how they're enjoying their holiday. So doing vox pops, that kind of thing, and creating stories, or maybe showing, in the case recently, showing everyone the Christmas lights as well in mm-hmm. Palma, and that kind of thing. So that was a fantastic opportunity to actually say that YouTube can actually get you some work as well. So again, that's absolutely brilliant. So that comes along every now and again, and I can just pitch a story idea to the editor, and he'll either go with it or whatever. So that's a good idea. Also with my marketing and PR background as well, I have also been doing other content creation work as well, whether it's writing or also helping as well with video work with other companies as well on the island or off the island too. So I think YouTube, I mean, I have to say that the global pandemic has literally benefited my life in so many different ways that I never would have done this had it not come along, because it kind of got me out of my comfort zone, and I've been able to just create a career for myself basically out of doing this. So these areas of freelancing, and at the same time as this, at the same time as starting my channel as well, I looked at building a website as well. And again, I just watched tutorials on YouTube and just step by step how to build a website. And I now have a website that runs along my YouTube channel. So as much as possible, if I can create a video, I'll try and create a piece of website content as well. And then that'll get monetized too.
And it just all works together so nicely.
Yeah.
And YouTube, you're not only making money from the ad revenue, but you're making money from you're getting clientele from people who you're going to produce video for. You talked about getting your first sponsor in the intro. Can you talk about that in depth and kind of how that process went?
Yeah, well, so basically with many of the holiday destinations in Europe over the winter months, we do see a big drop in traffic before Christmas. At the end of the season, from the 31st of October until kind of the beginning of March, there's a big dip in traffic because obviously our hotels close. We're in winter at the moment. We've got quite a chilly day today. So of course no one's coming here on holiday. So it's kind of like a case of what can I do to keep my channel going over the winter? And also my channel is Mallorca under the sun. So it's kind of like everything under the sun. So in the winter months, I'm transitioning a little bit into how people can come and live on the island, moving to the island. And I've been putting out some content about living here as well, what it's like to live here. And I've got a video in the making as well about how you can move to Mallorca as well, whether you're American or British or somebody outside the European Union who wants to actually come and live here, and how they can go about that. So I approached a law firm in town, got them on board, and they've actually paid me already. I haven't actually made the video yet, but hopefully that should be coming out soon on my channel. I'm just waiting for a sunny day. So.
I love that. That is awesome. It should tell those listening as creators that, listen, your skill set is needed out there. Just continue to improve, continue to publish videos, and eventually you're going to get to a point to where you're in the situation that Alex is in, where you're getting paid before you even do the work because they know that you're going to do it. They've already seen your resume, which is what YouTube is. Roberto Blake, which is a friend of mine, come on this podcast many times before. He actually says it this way. He says that each YouTube video is a business card for you, and he is exactly right. Every video you produce is like having thousands of digital business cards out there for you, and I love that analogy of thinking about it. And so Alex is just proof of that. And I love hearing about that story. Now, let's talk about a couple things here. I love this question. What is something that you wish you would have known sooner? Something that you look back at now and you're like, man, I wish I would have known that sooner.
Okay, 100%. Start your channel. I wish oh my goodness, Dusty, if I could have started my channel back in 2017 when I initially thought, I'm living in this amazing island. I think I'm going to start doing a few restaurant reviews or a few little walks around to show people the centre of Palma. And I was even I was talking the talk. I was talking about this to people and to my friends and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Yep, I'm going to do it. No, I'm not. And it's like, had I just done it, had I just recorded something and uploaded, I would have had that data to then think, right, this works, this doesn't work, let's try something else. You just have to start. And the amount of people I talk to that say, yep, I'm going to do that. And I'm like, just do it. You have to do it. So yeah, my the one thing I wish I'd known is just don't worry so much. Just start with something, start something.
Yeah,
that's my advice.
It really is that simple, and folks don't understand that. But you can put it off and you can put it off. But it's like anything in life; it's much easier to improve upon something than it is to start. Yes, starting seems daunting. It seems so such like a big task of, oh no, I have to have a channel name, a channel banner, a channel icon, a few videos in the vault to make sure that I have a consistent upload schedule in the beginning, and then I got to learn how to do all this technical stuff. But guys, listen, It really is. You just need to do it. And what I love telling people, Alex, is that break it down into small segments. This week, work on your channel design. Whether you're going to design your channel banner or icon or whatever it is, or you're going to have someone do it, work on that this week. Then next week, go ahead and get video ideas. Put it into small chunks to where you're not looking at this big, ginormous task, and then it makes starting a YouTube channel that much easier.
Exactly. And even now as well, you have YouTube Shorts. So you can just upload a 10-second video. It's so quick. You can just go for it just by getting some content out there. And now as well, I mean, like I started my channel with an iPhone 11, with a 2017 ancient laptop, and eventually after about 4 or 5 months, I got myself a $15 microphone. So that's kind of like the levels of high tech that I started my channel with. You don't need much to start. You don't need an amazing camera. You can just do it with your phone, do it with a laptop or whatever, and even edit on your phone if you have to. So
yeah, the barrier to entry is definitely nowhere near what it used to be. So
exactly.
Those folks using that as an excuse, that's really not an excuse for you anymore. What have you learned about yourself? Like, what are some personality traits that have helped you or maybe hurt you along this YouTube journey?
Oh my goodness, that's such a hard question. I think the most important thing is actually having some confidence now, because I think in my previous role, because if you're in the job for a very, very, very long time, you kind of, gradually, your managers become younger. They get a new talent that's a lot younger. You kind of start feeling like you're on your way out, as it were, and you're not going anywhere in your job role. So I think just by doing this, it's given me renewed confidence in myself, knowing as well that I can communicate as well, really well as well, and just learning all these different skill sets as well. So I think really personality wise, it's given me a lot of confidence. I mean, what can possibly be the downside of starting YouTube? I'm so amazed at the opportunity it's given me to kind of like renew my life, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. And for you, I want to ask you this question: What is next for you? Like short term and long term. Like what are you looking to do with the channel and the content?
Okay, so I really need to up my editing skills. I really want to get better at editing. I want to get better at storytelling as well. So I've got so many ideas still. I think I must have over 200 videos all about the islands on my channel already. I've got like 200 more ideas. I've constantly got ideas of how I can be doing things better, but I really want to improve my editing. I want to improve my storytelling. So that's one way to go. I also want to build up my website as well. I want to get more sponsors on board too. I mean, I just want to do more of everything I'm doing already and just make it bigger too. So yes, and the same as well with the Facebook group as well. We've got a really friendly Facebook group. We've got a great community in there. I've actually got some of my community helping to admin that as well. So I just want to try and make that bigger too, and just become the ultimate resource for anyone who wants to come to the island too. And I just have to say as well, we have had more Americans in the past 12 months coming to Mallorca from Newark Airport as well. There's a direct flight during the summer. So it's great to see that we're getting more and more Americans on the island as well. So we're a little bit more well known now than we ever used to be.
I love that. I tell you what, this has been an awesome interview. I'm going to close by giving you the opportunity or the floor to just say, you have a lot of creators listening to this, some of them struggling to grow a channel, some of them debating whether or not they should even start a channel. Whatever their current state may be, what bit of advice or motivation would you give them?
Okay, well, I would say no matter what age you are, no matter what level of capabilities you have, keep watching YouTube and then just go for it. Just go and create something, start something. You just have to, and just do not worry about what people think about you, because ultimately at the end of the day, you're doing this for yourself, and each piece of content you put out there, you're going to improve upon. I can absolutely promise you. You just have to go for it. And then you don't know what opportunities this may bring you in the future. I never imagined 2 years ago, Dusty, I have to say, I started listening to your podcast, and I thought, my goodness, one day I want to be on this podcast. I'm listening to all these amazing stories of other creators, and one day, and at the time I think I had about 25 subscribers, I thought, one day I want this to be me, and here I am. So, you don't know. A YouTube channel can basically open up so much opportunity for you. Go for it.
Absolutely. Well, you are no longer at 200 or 25 subscribers. You are much more than that now. You've done a great job growing your community with the Facebook group, the website, the YouTube channel. So much that you have going on, Alex, and I cannot wait to follow your journey beyond this podcast and see where you're able to go in year 2, 3, 4, 5. And so thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. You can find all of her links down below. Again, she is under Mallorca Under the Sun on YouTube. That is spelled Mallorca Under the Sun. And then all of the pertinent links will be down below. Alex, thank you again.
Dusty, thank you so much. It's been fantastic to talk to you.
Absolutely. Talk to you later.
Bye. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the YouTube Creators Podcast. We want to thank you and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as support us on Patreon for great perks, such as having your YouTube channel featured on the show and a link on our website. Until next time, keep uploading those videos.